on the 25th of November is our Red Wednesday campaign. We are inviting people of all faiths and none to stand in solidarity with persecuted Christians and all those who suffer for their peacefully held beliefs. We'll now hear from some of our friends of ACN who share with us why standing up for religious freedom is important to them.
I've always believed it's so important for us to have religious freedom in our world. For me, religious freedom just means the right to be left alone, to believe what you want to believe about God, to have your faith, so long as you're not doing any harm to anyone else for believing what they believe. Having a religion is like being in a big family. That means the right to meet up and to pray together. It also means the right to express your beliefs in public and let others join you if they want to. All of this seems, well, pretty obvious to us in the West, even if there's a threat to us Christians, even in Scotland, to express what we believe without some bad consequences personally or in our places of work. But in other parts of the world, no more than a half a dozen hours away by plane, say to the south or to the east, our fellow Christians really are being persecuted and even killed, even as I'm speaking to you right now. And all just for being Christian, can you imagine? They're attacked on the streets and by their neighbours just for believing in Jesus. Others get blown up with bombs in their churches, some in their mosques and temples, just for taking part in their religions. They're deprived of incomes, livelihoods, just for having a particular faith. They're separated from their families, some in prison, some tortured, others even put to death, just for having beliefs. When someone talks about Christian martyrs, we tend to think about ancient Rome, don't we, and being thrown to the lions. The truth is that in the 20th century alone, more Christians were put to death for believing in Jesus than in all the other 19 centuries previous put together. Even today, a Christian is killed every 6 minutes of every day of every year just for believing in Jesus. That's another one since I've been speaking to you. God rest him or God rest her.
This year for Red Wednesday, ACN is starting an advocacy campaign called Set Them Free. The campaign will highlight the plight of Leah Sharibu from Nigeria, Maria Shabazz from Pakistan, Bishop James Suzuman from China, and Patriarch Abu Antonius from Eritrea. We hope that you'll join us in the campaign to help set them free. We hope that you'll join us in highlighting to our Scottish Parliament and to our UK Government that we care about religious freedom in our world.
Why is it so important? In countries historically, in many countries today, governments have not been keen on people having religious freedom. Often that means they're not allowed other political and different kinds of freedom as well, but particularly religious freedom is a concern for some governments. So that's something we should be concerned about and thinking about and hopefully praying about every day of the year, not just one day. But I think it is good to have one day, Red Wednesday, when we can focus particularly on this subject and particularly remember, pray for, and perhaps even write letters and a campaign for people who are suffering because they do not have freedom of religion.
One of the great challenges of life is respecting other people, especially those who are different from ourselves. Sometimes those differences are superficial. But if it's a difference in religion, then it's a very profound difference. Because someone's religion, someone's religious belief goes right to the depths of the person, right to the heart of the person. And so, if to respect that person's human dignity, you have to respect their freedom also of religion. That means it's always wrong to try and force someone to change their religion or to persecute someone on account of their religious belief. We may not agree with the other person, we may not agree with the truths of their faith, but we respect the person. And if we want to live in a peaceful world, if we want to live in a world where we respect the dignity of each and every human being, we have to respect the freedom of religion, because that is something so deep and profound. It's at the heart of every person, the heart of the dignity of every human being.
Religious freedom is a basic human right. We should all have freedom of thought, belief, and freedom to practice whatever religion we like. In this country, we are lucky enough that we are able to believe, not believe, practice, not practice, whatever religion we choose to. And unfortunately, there are people across the world who are fighting every day, and millions of people across the world who have been killed for the same thing that we so take for granted in this country.
Aid to the Church Needs work is so important to highlight the plight of persecuted Christians, and I'd ask that you consider getting involved.
Aid to the Church in Need started back in 1947 when a young Norbertine priest, Father Verenfried van Straten, responded to an appeal for reconciliation made by Pope Pius XII in the bitter early years after World War II. Over the years, ACN, with the marvellous support of benefactors throughout the world, has grown and grown, and we now have offices in 23 countries across the globe. In 2019, ACN supported over 5,200 projects in 139 countries, with aid going over to 1,100 Catholic dioceses. But none of this would have been possible without you. We helped some truly amazing people. Our work reminds us that even in times of sadness, confusion and often despair, light can still be found, the light of Jesus Christ our Lord. From the Philippines to Rwanda to Syria, you make our work possible. But we expect you know plenty about where we work and what we do. So let's just take a look behind the scenes at ACN.
Our schools, universities and colleges throughout the country are a fantastic support to the work of ACN, and we're so thankful for their engagement. ACN and Scotland's parish representatives Helen and Joe organised a brilliant afternoon tea for our Red Wednesday campaign. The whole community of Coatbridge got involved, with some fantastic raffle donations from local business and the parish of St Patrick's turning out in their droves and enjoying some yummy tea and cake.
We don't consider ourselves in any way to be heroes or superheroes for carrying out this work. All we're doing is trying to live out our faith by promoting the work of a charity that we hold dear to our hearts, and we support its aims of promoting religious freedom throughout the world.
For the past 5 years, ACN in Scotland have organised an annual youth rally where over 1,000 young people from schools across the country have joined together to make a stand for religious freedom. The rally is a fantastic day with a festival atmosphere.
Broke these chains, now I can lift my hand, and I'm gonna praise you.
We always have a great selection of live music on the day, including St Maurice's High School Samba Band, Uberfuse, Firecloud and Dominican Sisters of St Cecilia and their fab Elgin music group. You're in for a treat now as you get a flavour of their repertoire. Prayer is central to the work of ACN. We invite our benefactors to pray for all those persecuted for their faith. And here at ACN, we're lucky enough to pray with our brothers and sisters around the world. This may be in person, via Skype or social media. However we pray, it's wonderful to do so with our persecuted brothers and sisters.
My name is Joanna Sweeney and I am the Primary RE Advisor for the Archdiocese of Glasgow. I think it's important for Catholic schools to have an awareness of religious freedom and ACN's Red Wednesday campaign, because we are very fortunate in this country. Our children can attend a Catholic school, can go to Mass and wear a crucifix without fear of persecution. But we know for many children around the world, this is not the case.
One of our key primary school initiatives is our Maisie Milk Rosary for Peace. We invite our schools to pledge a decade of the Rosary each day for 1 week in May. The initiative started in Scotland in 2019 when we had over 49,500 decades of the Rosary offered for peace in our world. This year we had schools throughout the UK join us. You can see some of the highlights here.
Hello, my name is Amy and I am from Our Lady of the Annunciation Primary. What I particularly enjoyed about the Maisie Milk Rosary is gathering together before school in our school library and saying the Rosary as a community. We prayed for peace in Syria.
Hello, my name is Eloise and I am from Our Lady of the Annunciation. I used my rosary beads to pray during lockdown, and at lunchtime in school I remember praying in the library. It made me feel good to pray for other people in other countries rather than just thinking of ourselves. It was nice to pray for other people less fortunate than us.
Why is it important to have religious freedom in our world? Because without it, there is no freedom of conscience. There is no toleration.
I think it's extraordinarily important that however much we hold to our own beliefs and understandings, that we respect and cherish some of the variety that is out there as well.
Just now we have so many people in the world who are being persecuted for their religious beliefs.
I believe that each of the church need to give people a voice because millions of people worldwide are fighting for their faith, and many of them, millions of them even, are dying because of it.
There are 3 principles that are central to the work of ACN: prayer, information and action. And we hope that our showreel has highlighted for you some of the ways in which you could get involved. If you'd like to find out more, please get in touch and make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with all that's going on.
As a bishop, as you can imagine, I'm involved in charities that feed the poorest of the poor across the world, thank God, but I can tell you I'm every bit as proud of the work I can do for our persecuted brothers and sisters, and that's why I light up my cathedral red every year on Red Wednesday to raise a red alert awareness of the plight of our fellow human beings. It's why I stand up for freedom and faith across the world. It's also why I'd encourage you to fundraise for us, to get to know your brothers and sisters personally across the world who are reaching out to you for your friendship and help. Do you know, whenever I type ACN into my PC, my predictive text immediately changes it to CAN. I used to get annoyed terribly. Now I just smile when I think of my fellow persecuted Christians and I wonder what I can do to help. I just think of ACN and I know it, CAN, it can. Let's help us to do even more. Thanks very much.